Hello.
What's up, guys? Big day.
Yeah.
Big day.
Big week.
Yeah, big week.
Yeah.
Jeez. Today we've got some Spider-Man stuff coming at you, obviously. I'm going to read the deadline report because we're going to focus on the facts here for a second. So what we know now. Third Spider-Man movie, produced under Marvel, which means Kevin Feige. Did we do that?
Feige?
Did we resolve that yet?
Feige. Let's go with Feige.
I'm going to stick with Feige. Which probably means he's going to be involved, which is awesome, obviously. We got a release date of July 2021, which is awesome that we got a release date that quick, which is pretty crazy. So in addition to a third Marvel movie of Spider-Man, we've got that Spider-Man will appear in future Marvel Studios films. They didn't release the terms of that, so that's really all we know fact-wise right now.
Right.
So obviously what that means is we're going to get a third movie. The tie-ins will probably stay the same with the heir to the Tony Stark throne of technology that he got in Far From Home. And then I guess we'll see with the next movie kind of how that plays out. We'll probably see more about what their long-term plans are depending on how that plot goes.
Yeah.
So, another Spidey.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all
about
this news. In fact, we were doing a video about this last week before this news dropped, theorizing about how and why and when Spidey would be coming back to the MCU. And we've kind of been talking about it together since it started and both not really buying it. Now, I want to say off the bat that I believe that they had that deal like underway and that, you know, Spidey was really out of the MCU the way that he was, and that both companies were trying to negotiate but couldn't come to terms with it, and so it was official. He was out of the MCU. However, I don't think that Marvel was giving up quickly, and I think that was where I was standing the whole time, is like, I can't see them just giving it up this easily. Like, I can see them conceding to what Sony would want, or
they invested way too much plot-wise up to this point.
Yeah. So this video is all about moving forward. What are we gonna get? What are we gonna see with as far as Sony, as far as Spider-Man goes? Now, I am not particularly excited for the Venom part of it all, like the Venomverse or the Sony Spider-Man universe. That doesn't excite me at all because I didn't like the Venom movie, and I thought that they treated that story really poorly. Now, they didn't have Spider-Man, so they couldn't really give him his origin the way that they should.
Sure.
Since that was the case, my vote has always been like, then don't do a Venom movie. Like, do a movie about an alien.
Yeah.
Don't call him Venom.
But Sony obviously wanted that Marvel adjacent money, which they got.
And they got it. And I don't think the movie worked out as far as a Venom movie goes. Like, I was pretty skeptical about it, and when I watched the movie, I was pretty disappointed already. That being said, I am excited to see what the future is as far as like their, as Kevin Feige put it, swinging in and out of universes. Spider-Man swinging in and out of universes. That sounds really cool. But this Spider-Man 3 movie, I have thoughts. I think...
Can we time out for a second?
Sure.
So Far From Home, where he's talking to Mysterio, and they go into that multiverse theory really quick, the, you know, don't ever apologize for being the smartest guy in the room. On purpose, because they already knew this swinging in and out of universes thing was going to happen.
Could be possible.
I don't know. That part just popped in my head when you said that.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't... Like, obviously it was a lie in the movie.
Right.
So,
but
as of right now...
strategic lie, because they had a sense of
with the
where
powers
things
that
were
be.
going.
Yeah, the film studios themselves.
Maybe. But go ahead. So
Spider-Man 3, the way that we leave off Spider-Man 2, and if you haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home,
Then why
there
are you
will
watching?
be
Then why'd you
spoilers.
click?
Yeah, so it's just an obvious thing to say. But the way that we leave off on Spider-Man 2, obviously there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. Is Quentin Beck really dead? Can he get out of this to sort of preserve his identity? Or will he just lean into it and give up his identity?
Yeah, for Spidey.
Will he go on the run? Who is he going to get for legal counsel? Now, these are all really important questions, but I think the most interesting answers to me, or theories, would have to be using Matt Murdock and bringing him in, because the thing is in the comics you see this a lot.
Yeah.
You see Spider-Man and Daredevil, they're in the same city. They both swing. They both
do.
hang out on rooftops. They're both in red tights. Like, it makes sense.
It does.
Right? And what would be sick is if they were able to get back Charlie Cox to play Daredevil.
He did such a great job.
And have the Kingpin as like a
Spidey and Kingpin
B plot with Matt Murdock. Having Matt Murdock in there and having the Kingpin sort of be Matt Murdock's like distraction throughout the court case. Like, he's always there because he just put him into jail at the end of season 3.
Right.
And then his focus, because that's what you get a lot in like Daredevil. His focus hardly is ever in the court case.
Yeah, very torn between his two worlds, more so than some other characters.
So it would be really interesting to see like how Matt Murdock can help Spider-Man. He discovers that Spider-Man is really Peter Parker.
Right.
And wants to help him because he appreciates the need for, or the necessity for, concealing your identity.
I think in the comics that one of the first people that Spider-Man confided his secret identity to was Matt Murdock.
Was it really?
If I remember right. There was a couple, like before like some of the newer comics where he's got his own company and it's even more of a, Iron Man kind of comparison. I think that was a pretty early one. Nerds, correct me down below if I'm wrong, but
it's interesting.
But they've always had a strong relationship.
Yeah. And same with Kingpin and Spider-Man.
Of course,
that's a pretty obvious tie-in.
If you're a fan of the 90s cartoon, which
for sure
everyone should be, then that was always one of the biggest things. And even Sony's, I think the last Sony video game, I don't have a PlayStation, so I didn't get to play it, so I just watched a lot of YouTube videos on that game. I think he wasn't the main protagonist or antagonist, but he was. I think he was in it,
and I think he could sort of be an ancillary antagonist.
Sure,
in this, like, we could have Matt Murdock helping out Spider-Man. Obviously, Spider-Man is trying to like not be in the public eye at this point, so getting a web slinger in the neighborhood may be hard.
Yeah.
Which would suck, because what you were saying earlier was you wanted to see more of that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I agree.
Yeah.
But I think what could be great, right now we're doing something awesome with Spider-Man. Like, if Marvel could keep the rights or keep this deal going, we're doing something awesome where we're building up his early years. And we're giving him weight, character development, and all that. And having him go through this court case where he needs to sort of like, prove that he's not Spider-Man. He may need to be in the public eye as Spider-Man as well, to show like, I'm not Spider-Man. I'm in court right now. Yeah. This other guy is out there web slinging. Maybe we even get Matt Murdock staging himself as Spider-Man during that time, because
throw him off.
Web slingers and Matt Murdock is like,
he's Yeah, close.
Yeah,
Spidey sends his sonar stuff and his the acrobatics and everything. He could absolutely pull
and there's
it off.
precedence for this in the comics because you have people that masquerade as each other to sort of throw off the scent.
Yes, if you're an Arrow fan, they did that really early in the Arrow series with.
They even did that in Daredevil, not for the same reason, but
yeah,
but Bullseye was masquerading as Daredevil to try to incriminate him.
Yeah.
This could be really cool because not only will we see Tom Holland a lot in court and be with Matt Murdock, we could also see Matt Murdock be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which would obviously he would be doing this just to take the scent off of Spider-Man, but once the public starts believing him, then at third act you get a Matt Murdock Spider-Man team up.
Oof.
In the streets. I mean, who does not want this?
And back in New York, most likely,
yes.
Which is a nice.
All of this would be taking place in New York,
and I do think the timing and everything we got with Spider-Man, we are a bit beyond friendly neighborhood Spider-Man at this point because the crux of all this, and what I suspect. So my theory on Quentin Beck is he's not dead, and this is less about Peter Parker, and this is all about Peter's control of Stark Tech. They mention it in Far From Home that this kid has all this power because he got the glasses. He's in control of, Tony's legacy, which is technology that's advanced so much since Iron Man 1. We were talking before we started filming about how you've seen Iron Man's technology go from, hammering stuff out in a cave to big lasers, big rockets, and then as the stage for Marvel has gotten more intergalactic, you see him more doing the energy weapons and the nanotechnology. So Tony's built this technology empire that he's now handed over to Peter. And so my guess is that this whole outing Spider-Man's identity is gonna go he's got Stark Tech, we can't let this kid be in control of that. And Tony's, technology that he's been hoarding and leaving there to pass down to Peter is kind of like the new Infinity Gauntlet right now in terms of, for the stage of Earth.
Like the new Ultron.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think it would be really cool if Peter just sort of denied the mantle of Iron Man right off the bat. Just cut it, nip it in the butt.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man, Peter Parker is intelligent in his own right. Mm-hmm. He's not Tony Stark.
Correct.
And he's not a Tony Stark Jr.
Correct.
He is Peter Parker, scientist.
Right.
And if there's any way that during this movie we can move from Tony Stark to Oscorp, bring in Norman and have him sort of be the new mentor for Peter Parker, and maybe even validate him in the public eye.
That's
and in court.
Interesting. And then you kind of get this, he's deceived. We get some Goblin action, and then him going from his
Goblin versus Spider-Man and Daredevil
with Kingpin behind the scenes.
Oh my God!
Oh guys! They're probably gonna think up of something better than this nonsense, but that ain't bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
Okay, so
is it not a good time to be a nerd, guys?
It really
Seriously?
Is. It really is. So, okay. So you have at the beginning of the film. This is just me fleshing out an idea.
Okay.
For a treatment. Okay, just go with me here. You open up the film exactly where we left off at the post-credit scene.
Okay.
Swings away. Who's he gonna go to immediately?
Happy?
Perhaps. I think he would go to Avengers headquarters.
Okay.
So, in my version, let's say he gets to headquarters, and he tries getting the help of the Avengers, but the Avengers are in a period where they're trying to wrap up this whole mess of time travel and everything like that. So he he can find solace at Avengers HQ, but he won't be able to like help his case there.
Right.
So Matt seeks him out after he sees him on TV.
Okay.
And he approaches Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, but Tom Holland, like in, let's say, like an alleyway, or like in, he approaches him blind, like the Matt Murdock blind guy.
Yeah.
And he tells him, I know who you are, and I want to represent you. And Tom Holland is trying to play like, yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
What? And he's like, I want to represent you. And during this process, let's say, I don't know if you could retroactively do this, but it would be cool if they were able to find a way. What if they were able to get Osborn to retroactively be like a kind of like a godfather figure to Peter Parker, like when he was younger and he sort of like left the picture, and now he's coming back in when he sees that Peter Parker needs help.
Yeah.
And so he wants to help Peter, and so you get him sort of like smoothing over the public eye of the perception of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Okay.
During this time, you see Matt Murdock working really hard at trying to get this to work out in court, but at the same time, his attention's being drawn to Kingpin. Mm-hmm. And you have this like sort of B plot, right? During this time, Peter Parker has to stay like Peter Parker. He can't go out and be Spider-Man.
Right.
So in order to mitigate this, we get the Matt Murdock Spider-Man, sequence where we see him sort of taking on the mantle for Peter Parker. I know that this would be a really good tactic. What's that?
And maybe while Matt Murdock's doing Spidey stuff, like he's like, I'm just going to go stop a couple robberies, he gets sucked into some Kingpin thing that happens right then. And that creates animosity between Kingpin and Spider-Man because Murdock, messes with Kingpin as Spider-Man.
Yeah. And the thing is like, Peter Parker doesn't go around like looking for I guess he did. But not traditionally. He doesn't go around looking for like the big gangsters. He goes around looking for like the muggers,
just to help people,
and the people in need.
And they showed that in Homecoming. He's stopping the guys at the
ATM
and stuff.
But he typically doesn't go like to the docks,
right?
Except for with Vulture,
right?
Which was
but
not
you kind of
traditional.
felt that this was like a test for him to like
And so maybe it's kind of out of character for Spider-Man to go do that, but we get Matt Murdock to go out and try to stop crime at the docks, and he's got like a different fighting style, and it's like it looks different, feels different, it's more visceral and like aggressive, and more low to the ground rather than like up in the air.
Sure.
And this obviously gets the Kingpin sort of involved like in an ancillary way, and as this is happening, Osborn you're seeing like the development of the Goblin, and in this he is like the real Goblin. It's not a mask. It's also not like Spider-Man 2 goblins, but the Amazing Spider-Man 2 goblin. That was so bad. But you get like the real Goblin start to develop. Like Willem Dafoe was fantastic.
Yes.
Why did they put a mask over his face? He looks like a goblin.
Yeah.
Like in real life, he looks like a genuine goblin.
Yeah, because like the cartoon, it was more just a green-skinned guy with a purple Santa hat on and less goblin armor suit.
So you see that develop as well. So you get all these things coming to a head. They're all like sort of standing on the outsides of the story and sort of merging inward.
Okay.
And coming in on Peter. All this time, Peter hasn't been Spider-Man. He has been Peter Parker. Working, going to school, going to court, trying to figure out how to to avoid getting pilloried.
Yes.
Pilloried? Is that a word?
I don't know. You're just smarter than me, but so here's my thing with that. A Spider-Man movie with Peter going to school, going to work, going to court sounds like a garbage Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Because I want Spider-Man to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a time management issue within the movie. You know, you've got 2 hours and change or whatever
let me
to
get
do
there
it.
for you.
So, okay.
So, by the end, by, let's say, the third act, that's when Goblin, Kingpin versus Daredevil and Spider-Man emerges.
Okay.
And you get this big blowout. Okay, let me just say this right now. Whoever thinks that the street-level heroes like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Black Widow, Hawkeye, all the really street-level heroes, whoever says that they can't fight an Avengers-level threat needs to be shut up. Because
the hot takes!
Because seriously, Hawkeye was taking down Chitauri in the first Avengers film. Not even looking. He was falling out of buildings and surviving. The dude has 9 lives.
Yeah.
Black Widow, come on. Black Widow.
I really wanted her to get a little extra.
Why is she not alive? We could have a Black Widow and Daredevil team up.
I know. Oh. Black Widow Punisher?
Oh my god.
There was a Marvel did an animated movie that was Black Widow Punisher. Black Widow trying to recruit Punisher into S.H.I.E.L.D., doing a little mission. This is with the Amadeus Cho version of the Hulk. Not very good. It was very an anime style animation, and they just kind of missed the mark on it.
Yeah. I always hated those.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but yeah, man. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we could have had that at the end, she comes in and helps out Daredevil.
How ungrateful do we sound right now that we get all this?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was gonna give you your your finish.
Okay.
All right. So we get the end battle with Spider-Man. Really, at the end of the day, all that the public wants to know, they don't care if Peter Parker's Spider-Man or not. What they want to know is he good? Mm-hmm. Because what was brought up in the Triple J video was he's a menace. He's evil, right? And he needs to be stopped. Okay, well, if that's the case, throughout the whole movie, we're seeing Spider-Man's name sort of redeemed. Mm-hmm. By the end, we get this massive battle with Daredevil and Spider-Man, and not only do we see Spider-Man's name redeemed, we see Daredevil's name redeemed. Because Daredevil has been put through the ringer in the public eye over and over and over. And at the end of this, we have not only Daredevil, but we have friendly neighborhood Spider-Man once again. Mm-hmm. The new trilogy after this is all friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff.
Okay.
None of this going out into Europe or going into the deserts of the Sahara
outer space.
Or outer space. He is street level Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You can do the spectacular Spider-Man or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But this is the segue. I know it feels top heavy because we started Spider-Man as an Avenger and now we're going down to street level, but it needs to happen because if in his college years he could be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which that's what in my headcanon the new trilogy would be, his college years, then after college, then he has his corporation, then he has the big villains that he has to fight, and that's when he becomes more of the more seasoned Spider-Man. And probably in this new trilogy where he's got college, that's when you bring in the symbiote.
That would be nice.
So I'll get to that another time. But okay, so what were you gonna say earlier?
Well, so one of the things like with timing and pacing, if we start with this courtroom heavy Peter being Peter and not Spider-Man, they did a similar pacing pretty well in Far From Home, where he's not really in on the action until the very end. But then when he gets to the end, when he comes through that hallway and is wrecking those drones, and you're just like kind of like, oh, damn, Peter, okay, you know, because that was pretty like violent, but against robots, so it maintains his innocence a little bit, and I thought they did that really well.
Yeah. You could also have that sort of in this movie where like when Daredevil's going out and being Spider-Man just is angsty. Like he wants to go out there and do his thing because he's Spider-Man and he feels like he's missing out. He's a kid, you know, and so you could have like that tension where like maybe he goes and follows him. And he like wants to help.
And like kind of gets involved when he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I told you not to.
Right. Yeah,
the older guy and the younger kid kind of dynamic. And I just want to help.
Yeah.
So this is what I think, and it's kind of similar to what you said.
I want this movie so bad.
I know. But I do think
we're not gonna get it.
No,
this isn't gonna happen.
Because I think where Spider-Man came in Civil War and stuff, we are beyond that.
Yeah.
And so I think if they're going, you know, She-Thor, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, you know, they're heavily involved in these later Avenger movies and Civil War 2 in the comics and stuff like that. So I would guess it's gonna be like the courtroom stuff very well may happen, and like you said, clearing his name and all that. But I think they're gonna keep this young Spider-Man. The version of Spider-Man we have now is kind of an accelerated Spider-Man. His friendly neighborhood years seem to be behind him. You know, Vulture was a little closer to home, but it was still a pretty big level, you know, kind of character to go up against. So I don't think we're going to see him go back to street level, unfortunately. I think we are a little beyond that with this Spider-Man that we have, and that it's still going to be more him being groomed as Tony's successor, but making that role his own, and how he
probably
copes
be
with
an
that.
Avengers leader.
Yeah.
Which I'm not for. I don't want to see that. I want to see him as an Avengers leader maybe later on in his life, but not as a kid. He's a kid. Like, he doesn't need to be an Avenger yet. You know? He's been thrusted into being an Avenger.
Yeah.
Just by mere situational problems. Like an attack on the Earth.
Right.
Like, you should probably get out there and fight.
Yeah. But that's the thing. He's already saved the world.
I know.
He was on Titan.
Yeah.
His little spidey fists punched Thanos already.
Yep.
So, like, even going down to Kingpin almost seems like, how's that a struggle?
Kingpin would have, I mean, dude, Kingpin is pretty, like, okay, you know what they could do?
What?
In the TV show, in Daredevil, Kingpin was always shown as being ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Right? They never gave him an arm wrestle. They never really showed how strong he is.
Okay.
They always just kind of like put him in circumstances he gets out of it because he's so strong. But they never really show like how strong he is.
Yeah.
He never needs to show. What if Spider-Man is the story in which they really show his true power? He goes against Spider-Man, maybe Spider-Man, what if we get that Spider-Man punching Winter Soldier situation where, you know, Spider-Man, like, Winter Soldier punches Spider-Man and Spider-Man catches Winter Soldier's hand. What if you get that with Kingpin?
Yeah.
Spider-Man punches Kingpin and Kingpin grabs it.
And Spider-Man's kind of like, oh crap.
What?
I'm remembering from the 90s cartoon, there was this point where, and I think this is right, correct me down below if I'm wrong, where Spider-Man goes up against Kingpin and he says something like, man, who did the voice acting for that Kingpin, by the way?
I don't know.
Because I'm hearing it in my head and it was so good. Where he's like, you know, only 3% of my body mass is fat or something like that. And, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a different it's a different Kingpin than the one that was portrayed in Daredevil. Maybe we retcon that a little bit for an MCU Kingpin version.
I think Daredevil was ambiguous about Kingpin. You can retcon it in a way that's not really overriding the past Kingpin by just giving him more backstory.
That's true, because as much as they portrayed him as this angry kid that turned into a great businessman, it was when they did fight, he gave Murdoch problems, and Murdoch's not a regular person.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you could.
There's some playroom there.
Yeah, you could be clever about increasing his powers, his power set, but not really you kind of do the same thing you did in the TV show, whereas you don't even show how far he can go.
Yeah.
Maybe he's even stronger, but we don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could. There's room
fighting
there.
Spider-Man, I think would be sick. Not he could be fighting Daredevil, and then Spider-Man swings in to help Daredevil, and Kingpin gives both of them a run for their money.
Yeah, he's got Murdoch kind of down, and he's standing over
sort
him,
of a Thanos
and then you get that
thing.
Swinging from the back, and he turns around and catches Spider-Man's punch,
and maybe
you see
throws
Spider-Man
him on the
kind of go
ground.
oh crap.
Yeah, that could happen.
And then they can have a quick conversation how's that guy so strong? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they can do whatever they want.
And maybe it's I don't even know. I didn't know he was that strong.
Yeah, the power level balancing is interesting now. Mm-hmm. In the MCU proper, we'll say.
Yeah.
Because you had Thor. I have a problem with Captain Marvel coming in and one-shotting the big ship,
mm-hmm.
because we obviously know Thor could have done that,
mm-hmm.
right? And so why didn't he just do that? And yeah, so Kingpin, there is room there.
Yep.
That would be really cool.
It would be.
As much as I love that, because I'm always going to skew 90s cartoons. Whether
mm-hmm.
Batman the Animated Series and the Spider-Man cartoons, that was my life. That's the canon for me.
Okay.
For how I want these characters represented.
I really watch that stuff.
But you didn't?
I watched Spider-Man and a little bit of Batman, but not much. A little bit of X-Men, but I couldn't even recall some episodes.
Oh, I'm gonna make you watch that.
It was all comics.
As much as I love those and want that friendly neighborhood, I do think we're beyond that, and they're gonna go a slightly different route. I think it's gonna stay. Well, it's interesting because how Avengers-y Peters stays may depend on the behind-the-scenes details of this deal that we don't know yet. How confident are they? After, they have an agreement for a third movie and other Marvel movies. One other Marvel
mm-hmm.
movie? So how confident are they that it's going to progress? What Marvel movie do they think Peter's going to be in? Because that's probably going to be the focus for now is, all right, we've got this one more Spider-Man movie. We've got another Marvel movie. The Spider-Man movie's got to set up and tie into the Marvel movie he's going to be in at some point. And what's that plot going to be?
Right.
How Civil War II era where Thor, Falcon's Cap, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel, how much are they going to be in the focus? We've got the Disney movie, or the Disney shows Disney Plus, where we're going to see Falcon Winter Soldier. What angle is that going to go? How's that going to tie into whatever the new Marvel movie is?
Yeah. I think before they get to the next Marvel movie that Spider-Man's allowed to be in, I think Disney will have already cut out another deal with Sony.
Makes sense.
I don't buy the cynicism that is after this it's over.
Yeah, I agree.
Because where does Spider-Man go? Do you kill him?
No.
Does he just stop being a superhero?
Even if you go the cynical route and say that stuff falls apart after this deal, they'd still never kill Spider-Man in hopes that...
Right, that he could come back.
That he could come back. And, the characters are very tied to their actors at this point. Yep. So I think, the constant reboots of, Spider-Man and stuff that we're used to, or even, the old Batman, where Batman was almost like a James Bond-like role, who's going to play the next Batman.
Yeah.
Because we're in this very integrated universe now, I think those days are over. So I think if you're going to kill off a character, it's going to be because someone else takes up the mantle in a certain way, stuff like that. But like the characters are kind of the characters at this point. But I think you're right. You were spot on with this. Everyone was freaking out about it in the beginning, and you've been like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
and I think they will. I mean, since the beginning, Kevin Feige's wanted Spider-Man in this universe. Mm-hmm. Like, did you see the leaked footage from Iron Man 1?
No.
The post-credit scene?
Yes, where Fury, he talks about web slingers and mutants or some line like that they cut out.
Radioactive spiders and
radioactive spiders and countless dozens of mutants or something. Yeah.
So, and also, from the beginning, Kevin Feige tried getting Hugh Jackman to come into the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series. Yeah. That is a big deal. That says a lot about what Kevin Feige, like his vision.
For sure.
Like what he wants.
For sure.
He had that from the very first Marvel movie. He had in mind to get Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I can't see him let it. He's the reason why Spider-Man's back.
Oh, for sure.
You could count on for sure that him being the reason why negotiations happened.
Because Sony's statement was about Kevin Feige more than it was anything else. Like, they didn't mention Disney. They mentioned Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin. Can I call you Kevin? Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin Feige.
We'll start calling him K-Dog from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's been a couple more in the news. There's been more Wolverine rumblings.
Yes.
How they can they use Disney Plus to introduce a new MCU version of Wolverine? You know, that feels okay without, because how old's Hugh Jackman? Huge jacked man.
Yeah, the jacked man that is huge.
Yeah. He's not a baby.
50s.
Yeah. So
maybe
I mean
60s. Not 60s.
I mean, obviously we're attached to him as Wolverine, and the thought of someone else playing him is like, but the point they're at, you know, a Disney Plus X-Men thing that runs everybody up and gets them ready for MCU.
You could do, if they do the Spider-Verse situation, they could open up a multiverse, and they could have Hugh Jackman come through.
Beck alluded to.
You could have that like, maybe you have a younger Wolverine situation, and you have a cameo with Hugh Jackman.
And you know, man, when you see the CGI they're using in the Irishman trailer,
even in the last Wolverine movie, Logan, how they got the younger Logan to kill older Logan, that looked like
it looked good.
It was amazing.
And that was a bit back. Like, we've obviously gotten better, and they're doing it more. We got that new Will Smith movie coming out.
Which doesn't...
We got the Irishman coming out.
Technology doesn't look there in that movie.
It's fine.
I'll hold out hope, and I'll wait to... I'll save my criticism for the movie. But, I feel optimistic about where Spider-Man's going. I also really do think that, I know that you don't think that he's going to go to the neighborhoods level again. I do. I think after this series, I think they're going to propel him into another series, because Kevin said, we want Spider-Man for the long haul.
Right.
When they originally got him.
Who's more iconic?
I know.
In Marvel?
Obviously you do.
Like, you know, Spider-Man was some of our first superhero movies that we ever got that was like that, oh my goodness, like that first Tobey Maguire movie.
He will be the new, like, if they're able to keep him, he will be the new
co-leader of the Avengers.
Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Hugh Jackman, Ethan Reynolds, like the new, like, this kid is the character kind of person.
A franchise carrying.
Right, like, Spider-Man can be not even the new Avengers leader. Like, he doesn't need to be the Avengers leader, but he can be just as important in the franchise.
And he almost, you know, he's this interesting mix of Tony Stark and Captain America.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's so good. He has that innocence.
But he's so intelligent.
And he's got Stark tech. He's got the Iron Spider suit. You know, he was given access to that, that machine that could he just built a custom suit in the back of the Stark plane So he's
Yeah.
his power level with the access to Stark Tech, which is why I think everything's going to kind of revolve this Stark Tech heir to the Stark throne kind of storyline.
I don't think he will be.
Yeah,
I think they're going to bring in Ironheart to take over the Tony Stark role. And I also think that Spider-Man, that Peter Parker will use his knowledge of Stark Tech to build his own company in the third phase of the Spider-Man series.
Sure, which is kind of... What was I reading? One of the Deadpool Spideys from like a year or two ago. You know, he's in that CEO kind of role.
Yeah, like the last
it was the
Spider-Verse
the one where
series.
Deadpool assassinates Peter Parker because even though he's friends with Spider-Man, he doesn't know Spidey's Peter Parker, and he kills Peter Parker. It's a pretty funny comic, and then I think he's got because he's with Lady Death at that point, you know that whole thing, and he's got to like go and like get
That's another thing.
Peter alive.
We need to get Spidey Pool. The second phase of Spider-Man, in college Spider-Man, like after the third series, like 4, 5, and 6, that could be where you introduce, because that'll be around the same time as Deadpool, I imagine.
And that's a scenario where I would not mind a toned down Deadpool.
Yes.
To fit into a Spider-Man
Honestly,
movie.
I don't mind a toned down Deadpool. I think this Deadpool is great.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Deadpool 2 was not as great, but Deadpool 1 is like everything.
Yeah.
However, that's not comics Deadpool. Like he is. He 100% is, but in a lot of ways he's not.
The setting that you had to put him in wasn't quite.
Yeah, and his like how much they relied on crude humor was not as Deadpool. Like they did it more often in the movie than you would get it in the comics.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, what I would love to see in a Deadpool like Spider-Man, like let's say Spider-Man is the Deadpool introduction film.
Okay.
What I would love to see is bleeped out Deadpool, where he goes and tries to use like a swear and then it gets bleeped and he's like, what the
and we get like a come on Disney kind of.
Yeah, yes.
It's like, I could say more at Sony or something like that. Oh man, that'd be amazing. Yeah,
You're neutering me for the kid?
Very, oh yes! Like very quickly in the intro, we get what the bleep is that? And he's like, come on.
Yeah. And so throughout the film, he starts leaning into the fact that he can't use it, so he's like, fudge.
Yeah, just very campy. That I love. I am fully on board
my
with
goodness, gee golly.
Yes.
Like get really cheesy with it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And then like the next films that Deadpool's in, there's a precedent made that Deadpool now understands that he's in boundaries.
Well, because Deadpool would be the one that knows that he got sold from Sony to Disney.
It's like, I have to play ball.
And he'd be like, damn it, Disney, you're not my real dad. Yeah. Like, there's so much there. There's so much here.
Yeah. But anyways, we're going to probably theorize about X-Men, Fantastic Four, and then we're going to watch Endgame again. And then give you a recap on what we think the MCU was like, and our thoughts on the conclusion, and then moving forward, how we feel it's going.
Right.
Like,
subscribe, argue in the comments.
Yeah. Feed the algorithm.
All right, guys, this is the Transplants. We're out of here.